looking at that and some of the stuff on my arm, I mean, it just got so hot in there that the suit, nothing burned through it, just that the radiant heat was just that hot. So
Jordan Anderson joining us here in the Freak Nation, and it's good to have Jordan Anderson in the Freak Nation. We'll get to the fire and the significance of what happens, of course, in a minute. But I want to. This might be a little inside baseball, but Jordan was saying, "Bro, can you get a golf cart? We'll try to walk." He thought it'd be outside the stadium. No, we're about 75 yards from where he was. What'd you say? It's like Austin Powers?
Austin Powers. So we literally drove all the way down, came back, and we ended up 10 feet from where it started. So we just got I'm sitting in the golf cart. I'm like, man, where is he taking me? I know there's a tunnel on the backstretch. And he's like, oh, yeah, we're going right there. So that's our day. That's our moment for today. We got that checked off.
That's awesome.
Greatness.
I kind of wondered that because we're real close to the garage area where you guys are. And I thought, okay, wow, he's really not doing well. I had to check on your accounts. I'm like, he looked like he's doing better.
I think the last time I was out here with Kazo, we were outside over in 3 and 4 at the stage. And I'm like, yeah, we're just going to go to the stage out there and hang out. Maybe y'all got it set up out there. I didn't think that you were literally like you said, 10 yards that way. So we went for a scenic tour. So no problem there. We got a little ride.
Well, regardless, Jordan Anderson is here in the Freak Nation, golf cart and all. And you showed me pictures of you just 2 weeks ago. Looking at you now, it looks like you might have just been out in the Phoenix sun a little too long. How have you healed that fast from those burns?
Yeah, and you ask any racer out there, what's your biggest fear? Typically fire. It's right there at it. And, us NASCAR guys are a little probably different than the drag racers. I mean, they're so used to fire and they're around all that stuff. I mean, it's insane. But that was really, I'd blown motors and had some fire and stuff like that. But you look at where I'm at now, I mean, it's pretty amazing. A lot of answer prayers and had some good doctors at UAE and Wake Forest that took care of us, all the NASCAR guys. And looking at that before picture from about 2 weeks ago and seeing where I'm at now, it's pretty amazing how well everything's healed up. So the body's a great thing, a lot of answer prayers. And a lot of good hands. My wife was stepping foot, taking care of me that whole process, and that was kind of the 6-month mark of our marriage. I'm sure that's not how she had planned to spend that part of it, but the question that kept popping up was, is he gonna look all right for our honeymoon this December when we go on it? So I think I'm back where I'm at least normal looking for the most part. Still got a couple things on my arm and my neck that are healing up, but all things considered, looking back on the video and what happened, just grateful to be here and glad everything's healing up. And I know that everything, looking back on the crash, did its job to keep me safe. So just glad to be here today that we can smile and talk about it.
Yeah, seriously, looking at your face, there's so much energy in your eyes. I mean, yeah, this is kind of a renewed vigor for you. Like, hey, we got this, no problem. But talk about that fire, because you had a skirt off of your helmet. Was there something that wasn't quite tucked in right? Or I don't understand how your face got some burns.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of the crazy things looking back on it is the lap before going down the backstretch. I think I had gotten some in my eye, so I didn't shut my shield all the way.
Oh, wow.
And the skirt was basically a front skirt here, so I think some of it came up on the sides. So, looking at that and some of the stuff on my arm, I mean, it just got so hot in there that the suit, nothing burned through it, just that the radiant heat was just that hot. So the kind of combination between that, the shield being up, probably didn't help any of that. So,
but that's just timing. That's unlucky timing.
It is. So the crazy thing was, it was a oil line got hit. They got a hole in it, basically emptied out the oil tank on the headers. And that's why the fire was just so hot and so big and came inside the truck there. But, it was one of those things where as a driver, you don't ever think about escape plans. You're just always trying to be aware of your car, your surroundings, what's going on. And as it got hot in there, I was like, I got to get out of here. Anything can't be worse than sitting here inside this truck. And that's when I threw the window net down and I popped out once and I'm like, no, I'm still on the track. So I went back in and then I kind of saw the wall. And I'm like, if I can time it right to hit the wall and be on my way out, at least I won't be going too fast there. So it was pretty surreal. And then looking back, we got the truck back from NASCAR. They took it back to the R&D center and looked over everything. And they came to the conclusion, everything did its job that was supposed to. And but looking at the truck and seeing the burns and everything, it's pretty nuts. From Impact here today, like I'm an Impact guy for the rest of my life. Like if there was ever any doubt about it, I will be for the rest of my life now because everything did its job. But just a lot of answer prayers that a second or two earlier it could have been a different story of what we're talking about here today. But just definitely not the way I want to make the highlight reel, but just glad that I can sit here and we can talk about it.
Yes.
Jordan Anderson joining us here in the Freak Nation. And in case you missed it, we'll show you the video of his accident during this interview on YouTube and Facebook Live, where during the truck race, Jordan Anderson is in the truck, driving the truck, and one of the things that caught me by surprise was you're trying to get out of this truck as it's still moving, and here comes a wall.
Well, he said he purposely did that.
I know. I understand all that. I understand. When you see that happening, is it like, okay, I would rather have my hand or arm smashed by the wall and get a little bit burned, or have my freaking body burned, and then I'll get out once I stop.
Yeah, it's probably a testament to how strong adrenaline is.
Oof.
You know, you ask any racer, adrenaline that's been in a crash or something, it just is off the wall even after a race. I mean, you
Pun
get out of the
intended.
car and
Pun intended.
it
Off
is,
the wall.
yes.
Mm.
And when it first happened, I think I was just more mad about it because we qualified good. We qualified ninth. We were running fourth with just a few laps to go in that stage there. So we were en route to a top 5 in that first stage, and motor blew, and the motor didn't blow. I thought it blew, and I shut the motor off and slowing down. And, you know, there's 32 trucks behind me when this happened. So that's when I first popped out. I realized it kind of sunk in. I'm like, no, not just yet. And, you know, as I'm getting it slowed down, I'm like, it's getting hot, and it's getting really hot. And then I saw the fire starting to come in, and the trucks have a NACA duct on the right side, and we basically had a hose pointed to put fresh air in the truck at me. And so it was basically sucking fire in off the right side, coming out of that hose across me and out the driver's side window. And that's why it was so hot in that area right there.
You.
Yeah. So it was basically sucking in the right side, out the left side, and it just bring it all right by me. And that's why it got so hot and so intense so quick. So it was crazy. I knew the wall was coming. And I wish I could say that I was that athletic, that I planned it all to happen the way it did, but I just knew that I needed to get out of there. And I just counted as God's grace that the timing of everything worked out the way it did. But, you know, a great question that you said, because it was just one of those things. I've never been in a situation where I've been around fire, had that kind of fire. And it just, whatever was on the outside of that truck couldn't have been worse than just sitting there inside of it at the time.
Do you have conversations like that? Because that brings up something like you try and anticipate all situations. Unlike, you know what, guys, if I'm on fire and there's a wall coming, should I get out before I hit you don't have those kind of conversations, right?
No, I can't say that was going through my head. It was just, it's kind of the fight or flight survival mode you went into. It just like, I just got to get out of here. And, you know, take it from, I've been doing this I'm 31 now. So I've been racing for, without showing my age too much, 21, 22 years now. And, you know, being around it long enough and been in crashes. I mean, I think back to, I had a legend car catch on fire when I was like 13, and it was maybe going 20 miles an hour, but I rolled out of it in the infield grass. So, I mean, it was just kind of one of those things that you're around the sport enough, and you come into enough things that you just are aware of things. I mean, you think back in these cars or the trucks that we ran, I had on a cool shirt, so it's plugged in. I had my helmet, it's plugged in. Then I had the blower on my helmet. So I had 3 things that were tethers technically that could have kept me on top of the seatbelt. And, as that thing's heading toward the wall, these trucks are set up that they're meant to go left. So steering wheel's off. And that's why you watch in the video, it darts to left so quick, because I got the steering wheel off. I'm unbuckled. And I'm just trying to figure out how to either sit on the side of it or climb on the roof and let it come to a stop. But it happened in such slow motion as it was going on. You watch the video and it's like going quick and it's sideways spinning out. But thinking back on it, it was almost like slow motion.
Hey, Dad, what are you going to buy at the store today?
Well, I'm out of Lucas Oil fuel treatment, so let's jump in here and grab us some.
Well, do they have the Lucas Oil parts cleaner and degreaser?
I bet they do.
Well, how about the Lucas Oil power steering fluid?
You know, they'll have that too.
Even the octane booster?
I won't be surprised if they do.
My favorite red and tacky grease?
Yes, they will, babe.
Dad, when we're done, can we grab some candy?
Deal, but you gotta share.
Awesome! Lucas works.
Yeah, we've always heard that. Like you brought up drag racing earlier. We've heard that about guys in their top fuel rails. It's a 3.5-second run, but it's all slow motion to them. So yeah, when you're on fire, that is slow motion because you're like, what can I do to get out of this? Let's talk about your year though. What a year. So your driver, Myatt Snider, has a fiery crash in Daytona to kick off the year. Then you get married. Then you have a fiery crash. I mean, what else is going to happen this year?
Oh, you forgot about Martinsville crash.
Oh, and then goodness gracious. Then the fight.
I was going to say,
fight with Austin Hill.
If you call Myatt's crash fight, Myatt's was, I don't know if that was fiery. That was car meet fence and motor end up 50 yards down the track. And I go back to, it's a testament to the safe cars that our guys do. I mean, you never have crashes. You don't want to be on that side of the highlight reel, but to have one of the biggest crashes in the Xfinity Series, one of the craziest things on the Truck Series happen, and both of us are here today to talk about it, is, you know, I've definitely given all our guys in the shop a pat on the back. They put tough race cars and safe race cars take that little part out of the equation, because I got no doubt in my mind to go back racing again next year. I'm not fearful about it. So just very proud of our guys that they've built some safe race cars this year, and all the people that we deal with, stuff safe.
You have no doubt in your mind. I know your wife's been around racing, but what are the conversations with her?
That was so looking back on that day, it was kind of crazy. She was supposed to be running a marathon that day in North Carolina, and it got rained out. I said, hey, why don't you hop on the race day flight with all the pit crews and come on down here to Talladega? So she was there that day, a part of it. My dad was there. And John Bomber and all his guys were at Road Atlanta for the Petit Le Mans, so they actually came on down to the hospital.
So everybody was there?
So everybody was down there. Her mom and dad were actually at the house when it happened. They hopped on an airplane in Charlotte to come down and meet me at the hospital. So to have everybody there meant quite a lot. And some of the discussions we had, that was she was like, how do you feel about it all? And I'm like, I want to take that truck. It's the front clip's not bent. It needs some body work on it. It melted the Bondo off of it, so it needs some mud work. But it would be pretty cool to take that truck back to Daytona next year and have maybe a redemption tour to come back at it.
That idea.
I think we might make a go at it. But it's tough. When I sat at home for 3 weeks after it, the mind is a crazy thing. You can either go down a path of, can't believe this happened. This is terrible. And I just kind of was like talking with her about it. I'm like, this is a part of my testimony. I'm still here. I mean, God's not done with me yet. And, how do we make something good come out of this? And it kind of tried to be that half glass full through that whole scenario. And for her and I, she's a counselor. That's her full-time job. And I said, so, thinking about this, and as tough and as painful as that burn process was, I said, this has kind of put lit something in me to maybe go to some of these burn hospitals and see some of these kids and stuff that have fought through some of this stuff. Because it's hard you always figure, how can you relate to people that are going through a tough time in life? And I'm like, here I am, I've gone through this, I've lived through this. How can we kind of help live back? And so that's kind of one thing she wants to help me work on next year is, to kind of be able to give back a little bit through some of this stuff. So it's trying to keep a positive attitude through all this stuff and find some good in it. And I think the biggest thing for me, I was so humble because you work so hard your whole life. You want to be respected by people. You want people to like what you're doing. And the amount of people that reached out and, either a text or a phone call or came by the house through all this stuff, I was humbling is probably one of the words that comes to mind, because there are people that in the garage that I don't even like me that were sending me a text message like, hey man, hope you're getting better. If there's anything I can do for you. So I think it speaks volumes about the NASCAR community, how tight we are. And we may, go nose to tail and race each other as hard as we can every week, but in the day, you don't ever want to see anybody go through a tough time. So that was pretty cool and pretty humbling to see how many people reached out and, just reached out to see if there's anything they could do to help. So that was pretty cool.
Do you have a charity right now?
I don't.
There you go.
So
burn victims.
You just never know.
His race team.
Burn victims.
He's raising money for his race team.
Right.
Tires,
well, okay, there is that. Oh, that charity.
But I tell you, it has been a good year. I mean, you look back at where we were in February last year. We were down there. We had just finished second in the truck race. I show up for qualifying in the Xfinity car. Qualifying gets rained out. Our Xfinity team sidelined the first 10 races. We went through last year. And this really will be our first. So tomorrow's race here at Phoenix will be our first full season of our team racing in Xfinity. We're going to finish top 20 points with Myatt. It's been an incredible growing season. And, being here, talking to you guys with Lucas and all I do this week. I mean, this journey started 2014, 2015, and all the people that have believed in me and growing this team and all that we've done. I mean, I remember coming out here in a dually after driving all the way from North Carolina. And, so to be able to be out here and have our team grow the way it has and be racing on a series like the Xfinity Series at this level is pretty crazy to see how far we've come and what for the next 4 or 5 years might have in store for us.
Yes. Yes.
So this is happening next year, Xfinity Series for you and a few truck races. Is that the deal?
That's the goal. We're still working through all our, it's silly season right now, working through all the things on the driver's side and sponsorship side. So hopefully in the next 2 weeks, we'll have all that dialed in. But, my main focus, I want to keep the team growing, but not done with the racing yet, whether it's in another Xfinity car or a truck. I'll still make sure I keep my helmet dusted off. That's the way I look at it.
Another Xfinity car.
Yep. You never know. We're working on it.
Oh, hell, we were walking through the Cup garage and I said, you want to run the big boy someday. What did you say? Yeah, that's a goal of ours one day.
Really?
It's you look at the next gen car and that model that they've come out with, and I think with my partner on the team, I'm on his development there at the Worldwide Technology Raceway in St. Louis. How cool would it be to maybe have a Cup car there at one point, some way down the road? So you just never know. I mean, it's crazy the growth that we've had and we've been able to accomplish, but that one, it would be pretty awesome to be out with those guys out there.
do, General Tire delivers.
And actually, it was AJ Allmendinger that said, "No, I'm loving Xfinity. This is my home. What's
Now
he
he's
doing
going
next year?"
Glutton for punishment.
Exactly. So yeah, I mean, racing's racing.
It is. Yeah, I feel like I, from my owner standpoint, pull the driver out of it, just put my owner hat on. I feel like motorsport across the whole gamut in the United States is just on a huge upswing right now. And for whatever reason, whether it was racing was one of the whole COVID deal happened.
Right.
And I feel like between NASCAR, IndyCar, NHRA, I mean, all these series and sanctioning bodies are doing a great job. And the fact that they're seeing the fan experience, people are wanting to get back at the racetrack. So I'm very, bearish about, very bullish, I say, about, the future next couple of our sport and where the direction is going. And it's just so cool to see more people. It's cool to see packed grandstands. It's cool to see fans back here at the garage area. So all our partners and sponsors are feeling happy about the direction that sport's heading in. So I feel like we're just trying to position ourselves in a good place just to keep growing every year.
That's better. Ty Gibbs. What does owner Jordan Anderson say to his driver?
Yeah, that was quite an interesting deal last week. Myatt was the one that actually got wrecked, got spun out from the whole deal. So Myatt's the one that should be mad from it, and I wasn't there. I was still down in the pit box. So I'm taking what I've heard, bits and pieces, and story of it, and I guess Myatt went down there and they were going at it. And
Well, hold on. You're talking Ty Gibbs. He's talking Austin Hill.
No, sorry, Ty Gibbs. We'll get to Austin Hill here in a minute. This is
Gosh, I could have escaped that.
No.
Exactly.
It ain't happening, Broham. Let's just say it'd be fantastic to be in the position as Ty Gibbs if Myatt Snider was running for championship. I get that. But Myatt Snider pulled a Ty Gibbs and knocks his teammate out. What does Jordan Anderson do as a team owner with Myatt Snider or whoever?
What a tough scenario. I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight. I'm just happy that it bumped another Chevrolet team into the Final Four. There's 3 Chevys there and one Toyota. So you got to look at it. And I feel for coach in that situation because there's a family situation there. There's the business side of it. And I'm sure he has to figure out how to walk that fine line. But you got to feel for the kid because I know he's all in, wants to win races. That's what he's there for. But I think that's going to be a huge maturing moment for him in his career because now he's got to step back and look at, hey, I could have had another teammate here. Not only did he knock out his teammate, he put in a guy, Justin Allgaier, who's probably one of the guys. So now he's a really serious contender in the Final Four. So you can only imagine what's Ty going to feel like when this race finishes tomorrow night and Allgaier wins and he's second. And that could have been the difference in having a championship. So you got to think, I think as a driver, the older you get, you go through those situations, you almost got to take a step back and not always put yourself first, but think of the big picture. And that's where the sport's changed so much back in the days when it was every man for himself. Now there's 2-car, 3-car, 4-car teams, and you got to figure out that best scenario for the organization. And I'm sure that for them, that was not only the pride of having 2 cars potentially in the Final Four, but the implications from the purse side. I mean, I'm sure it's
oh my gosh.
I can tell you that without off the top of my head, it's a nice bump up to make the Final Four for the team side, and that was a cut they got there. So it's a tough deal all around. I think that unfortunately you see it more times than not that respect goes out the window with how some of these guys race. And I think that if they knew the amount of work and effort that goes into building these cars and got their hands dirty on working some of them, that'd probably be a little bit different in how they race each other more times than not.
So RCR's Austin Hill is bumped out. And then we saw what happened in the pits. Let's get back to that.
Yeah.
And there's no close-up of it, man. It's nothing but these wide shots of this white fire suit. And you can see this kind of red fire suit falling out. What happened?
Yeah. So I wasn't there. I was still in the pit box. But from watching the far away video, I was pretty disappointed in how it went down. I grew up. I ran legend cars. I ran dirt for 3 years. Anybody that's been to a dirt race, you've probably seen your fair share of fights.
Right.
And I get it. Tempers flare, but I've always been. You got to let the guy know that you want to fight him. You don't just walk up with a jack handle and hit the guy upside the face or throw a sucker punch. So I think that's probably my takeaway from it is just you and I should be able to talk. We could yell at each other. We could yell till we're red in the face. But if my hands are in my pocket, don't sucker punch me. I think that's where you probably cross.
At least
the line
say
there.
you want to go.
Yeah, you want to go.
You want to go,
or shove me, or give me a heads up that we're going to go at it.
Exactly.
Don't just cold clock me out of left field. That's my view. And I've kind of gone back and forth in mine, and I've talked about it, and I've talked to NASCAR about it, and they just kind of know that I was a little disappointed in how that was handled, and probably would have liked to see if they really wanted to go at it, give him a shove or do it. Don't just cold clock him out of left field. Give him a shot.
What did Myatt do that aggravated Austin Hill so bad?
That's what I can't figure out is we were the ones that got spun out.
Yeah.
And, whatever Myatt said, I mean, I don't think that you could enough to want to the face
No.
even after the race. But, I get it. He was probably hot. He just got cut, and don't know if that was just kind of like just pushing the wound a little bit. But, just a tough situation. I just hate it. It's anytime stuff that happens, it's kind of a situation for the whole sport to figure out how to best handle it. But just glad that Myatt's all right. And he's back ready to go at it this weekend. So a little more motivation for him to on the wheel thing.
But say what you will, Jordan Anderson, of course, team owner, driver, joining us here in the Freak Nation Lucas Oil Studios. Say what you will, from the outside perspective, Ty Gibbs, Austin Hill, Rob Chastain, those things are bringing eyeballs to a sport, and like it or not, bringing eyeballs that would normally not
100%
to your sport. From a media perspective, when you've been in the Freak Nation, we don't talk nuts and bolts, as evident by this interview. We like to talk about things that happen on the track, not necessarily inside the car, but what's going on outside the track. Yeah, we love those things.
The drama.
Yeah.
I mean, it's drama.
Because you guys bleed red, piss standing up, you do everything that normal people do.
Yep.
Boys do.
And you get fights.
It's kind of one of those things, and I think you look at what Ross this past weekend, who hasn't played a video game and tried that at one point or another. And I think that, the more relatable we can show people that all of us inside this garage here, we're just like everybody else out there. It's just that we're just wired a little bit different, that we want to go out there and race against each other at 180 miles an hour. So, yeah, I think that, seeing that raw emotion, seeing that come out in this sport, I mean, that lets people see that, we're all in here. We're all in this, and we're real people just like everybody else. So I think it's definitely, we talked about earlier that there's more people watching our sport and all the crazy things that have happened this year. I mean, there have been a lot of, Final Four highlights this year, across the board in every single series. And, figuring out how for us as a sport to take advantage of that and get that out there and let people see that that's where social media has just turned things to where, it just lasts on, that highlight reel is shown over and over and shared throughout the world. I mean, there were people that I know in my world that don't even follow racing that we're talking about stuff that happened this past week. So it's definitely gone far out and beyond, and hopefully we can just keep riding that wave.
Oh, without question. And no better time to have some of the stuff come to fruition than right with the off season. This is all people will be talking about: Christmas, Thanksgiving.
We're just talking about the SEMA going on now, the PRI show coming up. I mean, all these races are going to have all season to talk about this stuff. And then Daytona's going to sneak up on us again. I mean, be here sooner than we know it.
I just got a text that your limousine's out front to take you 15 yards back to your pits.
I have a feeling I'm never going to hear the end of this, am I?
When I see a PRI, I'm going to say that they drive you inside PR.
I'm going to be one of those guys at PRI driving the scooter around.
Exactly. That's what I have for you. Lucas Oil logos all over that for you.
Wrapped like the race car. No, it'll actually be cool. So we're going to have we'll have one of our race cars in the Safecraft booth there at PRI. Or Impact, I just talked to Eric today. He's going to actually, because when everything happened, they cut the suit off. So they're actually going to stitch my suit back up, have it on display at the Impact booth. So that'll be pretty cool for everybody to see it. And then we'll be hanging out at the Lucas Oil booth there all weekend, hopefully see everybody. So it's actually pretty cool. I know you sent me a picture of me and Forrest together there. Was it 3 or 4 years ago?
2018, I think it was.
So it'll be cool to get back. I know PRI, I didn't get to make it this past year or the year before, so it'll be good to get back up there and see everybody. So it's always fun. I mean, we work so hard all year, and it's just good to go see everybody and kind of shoot the breeze and talk about the year and everything that's got going on. So it'll be fun.
And eat shrimp cocktail.
Yes.
Speaking of burning in the face, woo! Jeez. That would be St. Elmo shrimp cocktail sauce.
Buddy, it's good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
I mean that more ways than one. It's just it's incredible that before and after picture. 2 weeks ago, the body is an incredible specimen, isn't it?
It is. I tell you, anybody that knows me knows that my faith is at the front and foremost of a lot of what I've been through in my life. I look at that and I say, you know what, God's not done with me yet. He's got some big plans for us teams. We'll count that as a little highlight reel of the racing program and learn from it and live from it. But, just glad to be here today talking about it. Everything's healed up and, just so humbled for everybody that's watching the show that I'm sure they all reached out on Twitter and Instagram. We're talking about social media. It was so cool when I got back on my phone to see everybody that reached out and messaged and comment that, wondering how you're doing, praying for you. So just it's good to be back here at the track, seeing everybody in person. Giving some hugs and handshakes and seeing everybody. And, I appreciate it. Thank you all for having me on.
Can you get better at answering texts, though?
I'm working on it.
Busy.
No, Myatt even said it. This guy sucks at answering texts.
I got to show you. We're down to – I'm 144 on red right now.
Okay,
you can see. So
what's the highest it's been?
We were 4 digits last week. So I'm trying to get in text.
Not emails, text.
I'm trying to get better at it. Getting called back up. So we were up to 4 digits at one point after Talladega.
Now,
I didn't know I
the
knew
easy
that many
way.
people. There was a lot. I was like, "Hey, who is this? I don't have your number." So like, there's no nice way to ask somebody, "Hey,
Exactly.
who is this?" Like, but it was cool to see how many people reached out. So I got my contact book increased by quite a bit. So that was pretty cool.
Buddy, thanks for doing this.
Yep. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.